What's up everyone, I'm Tim and this is my channel 40 Times Around, where we talk about everything related to motorcycles, traveling, camping, and adventure. Today we're going to dive into the 3 types of air mattresses you can consider taking on your next motorcycle camping trip. So stay tuned. Alright guys, let's jump right into this. Today we're going to talk about the 3 types of sleeping pads that you can take on a motorcycle camping trip, and just kind of go over the pros and cons of each as they relate to motorcycle travel. Obviously, sleep is super important when you're camping on a motorcycle trip, especially if you're on a long trip. Getting a good night's sleep just affects so much, your mood, your safety on the bike, your enjoyment of the whole trip. So this is actually like a really important aspect of motorcycle camping, something you definitely want to get dialed in for yourself, figure out what works for you. Just to give you a quick overview, you have a full-on air mattress right here. You have the hybrid, which is basically what they call a self-inflating air mattress, and then you have the closed cell foam. So let's go ahead and jump into the air mattress type first. This is the air mattress. This is the Alps Mountaineering Featherlight series. This was probably one of the first air mattresses that I invested in. Been on a lot of trips with me. There's some huge advantages to this style. In particular, the size and weight of this is by far the smallest of the 3. So this actually only weighs 1 pound 6 ounces, and that is pretty light for an air mattress. Let's go ahead and set this up real quick, see how comfortable it is. So this one in particular actually has this pretty handy air pump built right into it. It's basically just like giving someone CPR. You just open up this little valve and push down on it. Okay, so here it is, all blown up. One thing to consider with these types of sleeping pads is that they're not great for insulating you from the cold ground. So basically, if the ground is cold, you're going to be cold. This doesn't do anything in terms of insulating. It has almost an R value of about 0. Something to consider. For warm weather camping, this thing is great. Cold weather camping, you might want to consider one of the other 2 options. Also, one more thing about this air mattress, this one in particular is about $55 on Amazon. I'll link to the 3 of these in the description box below in case you guys want to check those out. Let's see how comfortable it is. Okay, something I would say about the comfort of this. To be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of sleeping on so much air. You know, if you even just kind of wiggle your feet, you feel it in the back of your head and your neck, and the whole thing just kind of moves around a lot, which I'm not a huge fan of. But you almost don't feel the ground at all because of the thickness of this and because of all of that air. If there was a rock underneath, which there may even have been, I wouldn't have noticed, so that's an important factor, I think. So I think that just about covers the air mattress option of sleeping pads. So while I'm putting this away, one more thing about these air mattress style of sleeping pad before we move on to the next one is that these things are not 100% reliable. They can develop slow leaks over time. They come with patch kits, but that is something to consider. A few times with different air mattresses, I've actually woken up in the middle of the night just laying on the ground because it completely deflated throughout the night. Just something to be aware of, something to consider, and something to kind of weigh in when you're making your decision on what kind of sleeping pad to take with you. Next, we're going to talk about the closed cell foam. This particular closed cell foam sleeping pad is obviously very bulky. Now, it's about as light as a feather, so I wouldn't consider that an issue at all in terms of weight. But the size of it, it's kind of annoying to pack this thing. It has to be strapped to the bike somewhere. However, The reliability is 100%. This thing can't deflate. The R value on this, they're usually pretty good. As far as insulating you from a cold ground, this is probably one of the better options. Let's go ahead and set this one up. It's also got a pretty easy setup process, so let's set this up and see how comfortable it is. One more thing as I'm setting this up, this is actually the cheapest of the three. This is only about $8 on Amazon, and actually I misspoke earlier. I said that that other one was the lightest. This is actually the lightest of the three. This one weighs in at a little bit less than a pound. Another thing to consider. Like I said, this thing is barely noticeable in terms of weight. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, say, without having tried the third option, this is probably not gonna be the most comfortable of the three options. But like I said, it does have its strengths, but that is definitely a weakness. So there's kind of my opinion on the closed cell foam option. All right guys, so this is the self-inflating option. This is the Waylek. I picked this one up on Amazon. It's definitely not the most expensive of the self-inflating air mattresses. This one came in at about 30 bucks on Amazon. I would say this one has the widest range of features and advantages. It's a little bit heavier than the other two. This one weighs about 2.3 pounds, so something to factor in. If you can afford the extra weight, and the size I would say is somewhere in the middle of the two, but if you can afford the extra weight of this, it definitely keeps you warmer and comfortable, and it's pretty reliable. So I would say this is probably my favorite of the three before I even set it up. Let's go ahead and set it up though, see how this one looks. Now, as this is inflating itself, which is another great feature of this air mattress, one thing I should mention is that I haven't actually had a chance to test this in super cold conditions. I'm pretty confident to say that it would perform better than the straight air mattress. I'll have to get back to you guys on that one though. I don't know how much cold weather camping you guys are really doing on a motorcycle though. I try to avoid it. Usually if it's that cold, I'm in a hotel anyway, but something to mention. Okay, so this is the self-inflating sleeping pad. Now, I would kind of consider this a hybrid between the two because number one, obviously there's some air in it, which adds to the comfort of it, but there's also some insulating material inside of this sleeping pad, which is really great, like I mentioned earlier, for keeping you warm and adds a little bit of comfort too. So this really kind of has the best of both worlds in my opinion, and it packs somewhere in the middle of the two. Yeah, this is definitely my favorite. It's the most comfortable, to be honest with you. I didn't even want to get up just then. Definitely consider taking one of these on your next motorcycle camping trip. But like I said, the other two also have their advantages. I will link to all three of them in the description box below if you guys want to check them out. So that's it. That's the information I have on the three different types of sleeping pads. So I hope you guys get something out of this video. If you did, make sure you hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe if you guys want to see more of my videos. Question of the day, guys, what is your choice out of these three sleeping pads? What do you guys prefer to use? I'd love to hear from you guys, so let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you guys soon.